Let's get it, 580 Sports Talk on a Red Friday on 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and live in living color on our video stream, which you can, of course, catch on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on Facebook at WIBW News. How is everybody on this lovely Friday in the capital city? I am Dan Lucero, back with you after a day's hiatus. Spencer Dupuis will be along in a little bit. Our pal Brendan Dworzinski remains on baby watch, at least that is to the best of our knowledge. Brendan's certainly under no obligation to share with any of us minute-by-minute details of the process that he and his wife are now going through. But believe me, I know all about it, and I wasn't exactly hovering over my phone sending minute-by-minute updates to anybody. So we hope to have some good news, maybe even during the show at some point, to pass along about Brendan and the birth of he and his wife's first child. But if we don't, surely we'll have something to pass along by Monday's edition of the show. But for all intents and purposes, Brendan Dworzinski's paternity leave is underway, and we are sending our best to the Dworzinski family, and I'm sure that you listeners out there join us in doing the very same. So it's just me flying the plane for the first little bit. Spencer's going to join me in a little while, and then Spencer will fly the plane after What Is Wrong With You Today, because I am headed out to open up high school basketball coverage for this season here on 580 WIBW. That's right. No rest for the weary. It's me. I'm weary. We got high school basketball tonight. First games of the new season. And we are making the jaunt out to Silver Lake to see the defending 3A girls basketball state champions and a pretty darn good boys team as well. In Big East League action, the first Big East League basketball games, the new league, that was founded this year, the combination of the old Big 7 and Mid-East leagues. And we will have Silver Lake taking on Prairie Lecompton tonight as our first 580 Preps Friday night game of the week. Myself and Larry Latimer behind the mics tonight from Silver Lake, bringing you all the action. We are anticipating a 6 o'clock tip-off for the girls' game, the boys' game, of course, immediately to follow. Then tonight at 10 o'clock, the Kansas High School Basketball Scoreboard Show, first one of the new season with Eric Peterson. So, ready or not, here comes high school hoops. And it's a big part of our Friday nights, has been for so many years here on 580 WIBW, and excited to continue that tradition for another season and start it again with the defending 3A girls basketball state champions of Silver Lake for our first game this year. Silver Lake and Prairie Lecompton. So that's where I'll be headed around 4:30 or so. We'll start the pregame around 5:40, 5:45, and then have the tip-off of the girls' game at approximately 6 o'clock. So it's a revolving door today, but if you've been rocking with us long enough, you're probably used to some form or fashion of that just about every day on the show by now. But solo mission to get things started off on this Red Friday, and obviously lots of football to talk. The Kansas City Chiefs gearing up for Sunday night football at Arrowhead Stadium as they welcome in the Los Angeles Chargers. I would have to double check this. I, again, have been a little bit out of the loop this week. I'm sure you folks can understand. Of course, last night I was not on the show. I was in Kearney with Washburn University basketball. Women lost, men won in their MIAA openers last night for the Ichabods. A win tomorrow, I think, clinches the division for the Chiefs. Maybe not, because Denver could still get to 12 wins, theoretically. If Denver won out, they could get to 12. And if they won, I don't know how the tiebreaker would shake out. But this would, for all intents and purposes, end the AFC West race. Chiefs, of course, have already taken care of business in regards to clinching a playoff spot, certainly needing to win to keep their to keep their distance from Buffalo in the race for the number 1 overall seed in the AFC. But It's a tough game coming up because this is a good Charger team, I think. And they're 8-4. They have the record of a good team. They have a scoring defense that belies a very good team. Number one scoring defense in the league. But like when push comes to shove, how good are the Chargers really? We may be about to find out. This is a big test for them coming up on Sunday Night Football. They've played some good football. I kind of have a feeling this is going to be a higher scoring game than we've seen from both the Chiefs and the Chargers recently. I don't know why. I don't have like a great foundation for why I feel that way, but I'll try and walk you guys through why I think this could be a higher scoring game than most people are anticipating. Prairie Band Sportsbook's over under last I looked was 43, I believe, maybe 43 and a half. I'll double check that before we get into our game picks, but I think it might be higher scoring than that. I'm fairly confident, in fact, that it's going to be. And again, I'll try and walk you through why I think that will be the case. We'll get our keys to the game for Chiefs Chargers, our big Chief predictions, and of course, our picks, our outright and against the spread and total picks for the Chiefs and the Chargers. And we'll welcome in Matt Derrick, our Chiefs insider. Matt of ChiefsDigest.com will join us as he does every Friday at the bottom of this hour here on 580 Sports Talk. Also on the show today, our Prairie Band Sportsbook 580 Sports Talk Picks Contest. Just a two-man show, at least for this week. Obviously, Brendan a little preoccupied, which means I should finish with more wins than Brendan. Hopefully this week I will finish with more wins than Brendan because he will go 0-0. Again, bigger fish to fry for him. So we're not holding that against him one bit. But I'm trying to stay ahead of Spencer. I'm only ahead of him by half a game in the standings. And we are going against each other in not one, but two picks this week. So I look forward to finding out why he has chosen to defy me, which is essentially what is happening. Why has he chosen to defy me? Why has he chosen to go against me? We will figure that out a little bit later on with our 5A Sports Talk Picks Contest. We got What Is Wrong With You? Going to crown a weekly champion in that. And then after that, like I said, I'm out of here, and Spencer's got you the rest of the way, and who knows what Spencer will come up with to talk about. Maybe you'll get the most in-depth preview of the Sun Belt Football Championship game that you've ever heard on radio in Northeast Kansas. Maybe he'll, I don't know, maybe he's got a lovely singing voice he hasn't shared with us yet, and he's going to do like some opera. I have no idea. I'm handing Spencer the keys, and I'm getting out to Silver Lake. So it could be anything that Spencer talks about. But I would bet that there will be lots of football to talk about because it is a football Friday. It's obviously championship weekend in college football. Conference champions are going to be crowned. The playoff field, to the extent that you do or should care about such a thing, is going to get locked in. There's some pretty fun matchups on championship weekend, I think. I'm sure Spencer will get into that, as well as some of the Week 14 action. Boy, did it start with a bang last night. How good was Lions-Packers? That was one of those games on the schedule. Not even it being on Thursday night could screw that up. Because so often, Thursday night football games are of a lower quality. Just because you've got tireder bodies and minds competing on a Thursday night. That's the bigger reason than anything else why so many times the Thursday night game fails to deliver. But we've had some really good ones this year. We had back-to-back good ones. We had the snow game between the Browns and the Steelers a couple of weeks back, and had a really, really good one last night. The rare game that much was promised. Even though it was a Thursday night, it delivered on its promise. And the Lions and Riverboat Gambling Dan Campbell pull it out in the end with a 34-31 victory. I'm sure Spencer has some thoughts on that. Getting into that, some 580 Sports Talk headlines. Is Mike Gundy not going to be the coach at Oklahoma State moving forward? I don't think it's a great thing necessarily if there is a graphic going around of a picture of you and at the bottom it says standoff. Like, I would avoid in my life being in a graphic, being in a situation where I could be described as being in a standoff. I am not by my nature a standoffish person. But that is the word, that is the reporting from Pete Thamel of ESPN.com, that right now Mike Gundy is in a standoff with Oklahoma State. And basically what it sounds like is the Cowboys are telling Mike Gundy, we want to cut your pay. And we want to put that money towards NIL because we're getting spanked in the NIL space because a certain head coach of ours doesn't really like to play that game. So we want to take some money from you and give it to our players. How you feel about that, Mike? Because the alternative is we'll fire you for cause. And I don't know how Mike Gundy ought to feel about that, but I do know this. I guess I'll go ahead and get my thoughts out of the way on this because it's you'll hear about it on 580 Sports Talk headlines. Won't be around. I think if Mike Gundy is not coaching at Oklahoma State, we will have seen the last of Mike Gundy as a head coach. I think that will be it for Mike Gundy. I don't think anybody else would hire him to be a head coach. Maybe an offensive coordinator gig somewhere, like an offensive analyst kind of thing. But he will never again run his own program if it's not Oklahoma State. And the reason I feel this way is, remember when he used to take interviews every so often, like Tennessee? I think he took an interview at Tennessee a couple of times. I think once when they hired Dooley, maybe again when they hired Jeremy Pruitt, they also interviewed Mike Gundy at the time. Mike Gundy never left Stillwater. And I don't think it's because he thinks Stillwater is so awesome. He might think that Stillwater is awesome. Stillwater might be awesome. I haven't spent enough time there to know one way or another. But I got a feeling Oklahoma State's the only place it'll put up with Mike Gundy. And everything that Mike Gundy is and everything that he says and everything that he does, I think there's only one place on earth that would put up with him, and that as their head football coach. And he's in it right now. And if they don't want him to be their head football coach, I don't think anybody else is going to either. Pure speculation on that part. Just what my gut is telling me. But Spencer has the thoughts on that. 580 Sports Talk headlines. We'll do Change My Mind. He'll do On Second Thought. It's a jam-packed show today. Of course, we want you to be involved in the show. If you are watching on YouTube, first of all, how's my hair look? Second of all, you can interact with us in the YouTube live chat. If you're watching, again, the YouTube channel is 580 Sports Talk. You can jump on in. There's a live chat function that you can access, whether you're watching on your web browser, your phone, or your tablet. The Roku app, you can access the live chat feature as well. And you can type your missives into the live chat, interact with me. I can read all of them. You can also interact with your fellow listeners, which is a very cool thing to do. So hello to those of you who are already in. Mark H., Clayton, I see Vance. Jeffrey's already in as well. Good to see you. Clayton asked me if I could rub my stomach and pat my head at the same time. Buddy, probably not. I think most people struggle to do that, and right now I'm struggling to do anything. Your boy, me, is on the struggle bus today. Long night and morning of driving back from Kearney, Nebraska. Got back in from Kearney about noon. Stayed the night after doing Washburn basketball in Kearney last night. And thank you for the kind words, by the way, from Vance, who said good call last night. I appreciate you tuning in to Washburn basketball on our sister station, Country 106.9. Again, the women fell 66-61. Washburn men were victorious. They won by about $1 billion. 87-52, I believe, ended up being the final score. Also, Vance says the hair looks good. So thank you for that, Vance. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody who is in on the YouTube live chat today. So that's how you interact with the show, and I want to see your predictions for Chiefs-Chargers. Let's get into those, shall we? We've got our keys to the game, not only two of us and only one of us behind a microphone, so we're just kind of sharing keys to the game today. Spencer's keys to the game were get to Justin Herbert as much as possible, try to build on what was a step forward in the pass rush from the Raider game on Friday, and I think that obviously, it's always going to be a key for the Chiefs because right now they're not creating turnovers. If they are going to create negative plays, it's probably going to be through sacking the quarterback. Now, Herbert's a tough dude to bring down, but the Chiefs did look more able to make their pressure count for something against the Raiders last Friday. And Chris Jones had a big game, but certainly Charles Omenihu's presence was a big part of that. Just having him back in the lineup felt like it added another dimension to what has been not a pass rush that has struggled to generate pressure, but a pass rush that has struggled to deliver results, to put the quarterback on his wallet and put other teams behind the sticks, behind schedule, or kill drives with sacks on third downs. So it was a step in the right direction last week for the Chiefs pass rush, certainly. And Spencer's correct that they've got to continue that. If they get 3 or 4 more sacks on Sunday, that would certainly go a long way. The other key for Spencer is to run the ball. And that's a pretty simple one. And for the Chiefs, hasn't been really one worth discussing. But I think coming off of the Friday game for Kansas City, it kind of is worth the reminder that, hey, Chiefs, you've got one of the best, one of the most efficient, successful rushing attacks in the entire league, and you abandon the run entirely in the second half with your starting running back, Isaiah Pacheco, healthy and back in the lineup. The Chiefs only rushed for 63 yards against the Raiders, their second worst rushing output of the season. Only the Broncos game was worse. And what's more, it wasn't just the lack of yards, it was a lack of opportunities, it was a lack of trying. Like, the Raiders did well to shut down the Chiefs on the ground in early down situations, but that hadn't previously deterred the Chiefs like it did on Black Friday. They went away from the run in a way that's really strange and really out of character for this edition of the Chiefs. It's so funny how the dialogue around the Chiefs has evolved in the Andy Reid era to come full circle a little bit this year, where you get frustrated in the Alex Smith years if the Chiefs forgot to put the ball in their hands of their running backs. You grumble under your breath, gosh, Andy, run the ball, especially in the second half if you've got a lead, trying to run some clock. Just run the ball, Andy. Then, of course, the Chiefs happen upon the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. And the tenor of that conversation changes, where, yeah, still running the ball is good situationally, but hey, put the ball in the hands of your best player, Andy. Don't take the ball out of the hands of your best player. Let Mahomes do Mahomes stuff on 3rd and short or late in a game when there's a first down to be acquired. Let Mahomes be Mahomes. Don't worry about running the ball. Let your best player make plays. And now this year, with the way the running game has been, combined with some of the struggles in the passing game, both with Mahomes turning the ball over too much early in the season, and then the issues that the Chiefs have had protecting Mahomes the last couple of weeks, it came back around on Black Friday too. God, Andy, run the ball. Where's the running game? Pound it. Run the ball. It was a bit of a full circle moment, in that way on Black Friday. So, again, I agree with that particular key from Spencer, that the Chiefs should try to remain committed to running the ball. It is certainly not going to be easy against a solid defense, but the Chargers are 14th in the league in rushing yards allowed and 23rd in the league in yards allowed per attempt. So I think that the Chiefs will have some opportunities. Should be an even better version of Pacheco that suits up on Sunday than the one that was just coming off of injury and had the short week of preparation like the rest of his teammates for the Black Friday game. I would suspect the Chiefs will be a little bit more committed to running the rock on Sunday night. My 2 keys. Number 1, can we get acceptable left tackle play? I think that's all it's going to take. Just acceptable, because it hasn't been acceptable since the Bills game. It sounds like it's going to be DJ Humphries at left tackle. We'll get confirmation as much as we can from Matt Derrick, our Chiefs insider, but we understand his sources are telling him it's going to be Humphries. And even though he's only been around the team for a week and change, like, just study the vocab. And then when there's a guy in front of you, block him. And if Patrick Mahomes tells you to block somebody else at the line of scrimmage, then you block that guy. Just acceptable left tackle play is going to make this offense so much better. And the question will be, will Mahomes trust it? That's the biggest thing. Because I thought what we saw over the last 2 weeks was a degradation of Mahomes' trust in his blindside protection. Will he have that trust in DJ Humphries? Trust not to bail the pocket. Trust to wait for some things to be able to develop. will he trust the new guy more than he trusted Wanye Morris the last couple of weeks? It's not an easy thing, right? But Mahomes has been doing this long enough now. You'd like to think that there would be an element of belief in what he's seen. And if Humphries has shown well enough in practice or gotten up to speed enough in practice that he can play on Sunday, I would suspect that would mean that that Mahomes and the rest of his teammates have probably seen some really good things in practice from the veteran left tackle. So all it has to be is acceptable. He doesn't have to go out there and be Anthony Munoz or Walter Jones. Humphries just has to be good enough to not get beat like a rented mule by a speed rush every third down like Wanye Morris was doing. Obviously, that's the biggest thing. I think everything clicks into place better for the offense if the left tackle play is average, even slightly below average, as long as it's not an F. Because Wanye Morris is giving you an F the last couple of weeks. And I feel bad saying that because I know he's banged up, but you've watched the games. You've seen what I've seen. We got to be honest about what we're seeing. It's been a disaster. Above disaster is not a difficult standard. The bar, as they say, is on the floor. Even with a surgically repaired knee, DJ Humphries ought to get over that bar. So that's key number one for me. Key number two is you have to limit explosive plays if you're the Chiefs, because what have we talked about? The Chiefs have not been proficient sacking the quarterback, so you're losing the chance of negative plays. They also don't turn teams over. Chiefs defense ranks 26th in the league at forcing turnovers. Do you know how many times the Chargers have turned the ball over the entire year? I'll give you a second to guess. The answer is 6. 6 turnovers in 12 games. 2 of those coming in the last 3 weeks, but they do tend to come in bunches. They turned it over twice against Carolina in week 2, twice at Arizona in week 7, once against the Bengals, and once last week against the Falcons. They just don't turn it over. Justin Herbert has thrown 1 interception on 336 pass attempts this year. So the Chargers are not going to give the football away. And the Chiefs haven't shown much inclination to be able to take it away. So the Chiefs' best hope to hold down this Charger offense in a game where I think the offenses are kind of going to show out, their best hope is to make sure they do not give up a bunch of big plays. Because if you look at the scoring drives against the Chiefs the last few weeks, they are products of splash plays, 20-plus yard plays. The 2 touchdowns the Chiefs gave up last week, 33-yard pass, 58-yard pass. The field goal drive, where the Chiefs allowed points. They allowed points on 3 drives, right? On that field goal drive, gave up a 43-yard pass to Jacoby Myers. We remember that play, and then a 25-yard pass to Myers on the very next snap. So there were 2 splash plays on what ended up being that 27-yard field goal drive. Have to limit the explosives. Have to. Because the Chiefs fundamentally, like tackling-wise, generally against the run, they are fundamentally sound enough that you feel like it's been hard for teams to put together like 12, 13 play touchdown drives against them. Got to make the Chargers drive the whole field. Go back to the first meeting this year. Chiefs only gave up 10 points to the Chargers. And now that was a different Charger team. Justin Herbert was obviously banged up and not at his very best. But Chiefs gave up 10 points in that game. And 7 of them came on a full field drive because you had the Carson Steele fumble. But there was a splash play on that drive. A deep pass to Will Dissly for 22 yards. Then, of course, the interception that Mahomes threw, and then he injured Rashee Rice on the same play. Dredging up bad memories, I know. But KC had a short field to defend, and the Chargers ended up having to kick a 50-yard field goal. They went the wrong direction. There were 2 big penalties on San Diego on that drive. And then the Chargers started to drive at their own 19 and didn't score, their own 6 and didn't score, their own 2 and didn't score, their own 30 and went backwards. their own 30 and missed a long field goal, their own 30 and made all the way down to the 3 and turned it over on downs on a 4th and 1, started their own 15, didn't score, started their own 30, punted the ball away. They had trouble moving the ball consistently on the Kansas City defense. Have to make it so that they struggle again to move the ball consistently. Don't give up those splash plays. Those are my keys to the game for the Chiefs. We'll take a quick break, come back with our big Chief predictions and our game picks for Sunday night. We want yours as well in the YouTube live chat if you're watching on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. We're just getting started on this Friday on 580 WIBW. .334 on 580 Sports Talk. We're just getting started. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you. Spencer's in for the duration. Time for our predictions and big Chief picks according to our friends at Prairie Band Sportsbook up at the Prairie Band Casino and Resort in Mayetta. The Kansas City Chiefs are favored Sunday night by 4 points. The total is 43. That's down half a point from where it was late last night. I'm feeling an over here. More about that a little later on. I think the Chargers are going to be able to exploit some of the weaknesses that the Chiefs have on defense. Inability to force turnovers, inability to sack the quarterback. I think Herbert plays better than he did in the first meeting. I think the tight ends could have a big day, and I think the Chargers are going to move the ball. I just think the Chiefs are going to move it better. I think we're going to get a really great Sunday night game. Chiefs don't cover, but they win. 27-24, my big Chief, Isaiah Pacheco. I think we're ready to see him fully unleashed. Spencer, what's your prediction?
Well, first of all, I do think the Chiefs cover in this one. I've got them winning 24-17, which means I've got the under. I don't see them winning by more than a touchdown. We haven't really gotten there yet this year. I've tried a few weeks ago to believe that they could win games by more than a touchdown, and I just don't have the faith anymore. So it's a late touchdown by Patrick Mahomes to somebody for the win. My big chief pick, Charles Menahue, he made a big impact last week while not actually showing up that much on the stat sheet in his first game back. All 3 sacks were while he was on the field, and I believe he had a 15% pass rush win rate this last weekend, and so he's making a big difference already.
Absolutely, he was. He was very impactful in his first game back, and hopefully more impact for Menahue on Sunday. We'll take a break, come back. Our Chiefs insider, Matt Derrick, joins us next on 580 Sports Talk. His name is Matt Derrick. He is our Chiefs insider on 580 Sports Talk, beat writer for ChiefsDigest.com. You can follow him all over the various social medias. Just look for his name, Matt Derrick. You can catch him on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline every Friday here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt, the big question all week, who's it going to be at left tackle? And it sounds like the Chiefs are ready to turn to the new guy.
Yeah, I mean, I've been told the Chiefs are going to go with DJ Humphries on Sunday. I mean, we'll see if that certainly comes to fruition. I don't believe there's anything that today that would have changed it. I did talk to DJ after practice today. He didn't give anything away. Neither did Andy Reid. They're not saying they're keeping mum at this point on the decision, but my understanding, what I've been told, is that I mean they're going to give the new guy a chance, and I think it kind of fits in with the overall attitude of this team this week, which is they're determined to win this game, and I'm not sure that they're just determined to win it. I think they want to win it convincingly. I think they want to make a statement this week.
How good should the Chiefs expect Humphries to be short term and over the course of the rest of the season? Like, what level of play are they hoping to get out of DJ Humphries? Because at his best, he's been a Pro Bowl caliber player, but he's also coming off of a knee injury, and he's only been in the building for a week and change.
Yeah, and that's why I'm not even sure if the Chiefs really truly know what to expect. Obviously, they've been impressed with what they've seen before. They wouldn't be in this position, so they feel comfortable with what he's picked up in the last couple of weeks. He talked about really the biggest challenge. You hear a lot of players coming into this offense. It's terminology. It's just learning what the Chiefs call certain things, what their coverages are, what their protections are. Learning what the verbiage all is and how it translates to. So, that's the toughest part, he says. And, but, I do think it just speaks to, hey, how does this team feel about him? They obviously feel comfortable enough that, is he going to go in and give them a Pro Bowl performance? I don't think that's what they're expecting. I think that the Chiefs know that after the layoff, coming back from injury, probably not going to be 100% of his former self, but do they just need replacement level play at left tackle? I think they would be comfortable with that. I think they understand that he may give up pressures, he may give up sacks, but as long as DJ Humphries isn't giving up those, 2.5 second sacks where you don't even get a chance for a play to develop, I think that's all that they are hoping for. And I think DJ Humphries can probably give them that.
How comfortable do you think Patrick Mahomes will be with another change at left tackle? Because it has certainly felt like his frustration level has grown over the past couple of weeks. And while he would never say it publicly or take it out on anybody publicly, I think a lot of that frustration has stemmed from what you just mentioned. There have been some plays that the Chiefs have called that have just had no chance because he's getting tackled and sacked from his blind side.
Yeah, and that's what I think is going to be interesting is that, there's two kind of aspects to, I think, the protection from the blind side for a quarterback that you get. And, one obviously is just, the basics. I mean, if you're a quarterback, you're hoping that your left tackle doesn't just absolutely whiff and give up, a complete and total pressure sack, like we talked about, those 2.5 second plays. But then there's the other part, which is that you don't really have a sense of what's going on behind you. So you kind of need to know, hey, what kind of pocket does your left tackle present? What's his blocking? What's his approach? Does he prefer to, push guys inside or outside? How far deep does he push, protection? That can change and vary from, tackle to tackle. And, and I think, I think Mahomes has said before me, and I talked to him about this when, obviously they went from like a Eric Fisher, and then you're going to like an Orlando Brown, how does it differ? What's it like, as far as just going from one tackle to another? It's different. I mean, you do have an adjustment period. There will be a little bit of that. So, I can see how there might be a little hesitation from Mahomes at first, as far as just knowing, what kind of pocket does DJ Humphries present? Where's he going to be when plays break down? Where's he going to go? What's he going to do? I mean, that's something you learn over time and watching film and all of these things. So I think there'll be, like I said, maybe a little bit of hesitation from Mahomes from that standpoint. But I also think, like you said, I mean, you look at it and you see what's happened in the last, not only few weeks, but this entire season. I think there's also the part of that Mahomes just wants maybe adequate protection. I mean, he's not asking for the world. He just wants a little bit more time to throw. And if DJ Humphries can do that, if DJ Humphries can, like that play with Xavier Worthy last week, if DJ Humphries can give him 3.5 seconds to throw and hit a touchdown to Xavier Worthy, I mean, he's going to develop confidence in him in a hurry.
We're joined by Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com. And Matt, I was going to ask you about the other tackle position because Jawan Taylor was on the injury report yesterday as limited, but it appears he practiced fully today. Is his knee in any indication that it could be a problem going forward?
It certainly doesn't seem like it. You know, I think it's something that's kind of more of a chronic thing. He just has a sore knee that kind of barks up at time, and I'm sure the cold in the last week or so has certainly not helped it in Kansas City. As far as not practicing, being limited on Thursday, that was just a byproduct of the Chiefs when they have guys who have knee injuries. Really don't like them. If they're dealing anything with a knee, they really don't like them working on the turf in the indoor facility. And the Chiefs did move indoors just because of the cold. So that was the entire reason for limiting him on Thursday. But getting back outside Friday was a full go. He'll start. I mean, unless there's a setback of some sort, deterioration in that knee, he should be fine. But it's just kind of something that I think he's probably going to deal with on and off the rest of the season.
A guy that popped up on the injury report just today with not practicing is wide receiver McCole Hardman with a knee injury. What do you know about that?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I mean, it was kind of last minute because, like you said, it just popped up before practice. So we really don't have a full breakdown of the medical part of it. Andy Reid said it kind of just locked up. Saw McCole in the locker room after practice, and he looked pretty comfortable. Didn't look like there was anything going on. So we'll see if it's something that is going to affect him or keep him out on Sunday. You're hoping that it's nothing that's long term, and like I said, maybe he can even play Sunday. We'll see. Sometimes knees will do them. I know my knee locks up on occasion, and then a few hours you feel better. But I'm a few years older than McCole, so hopefully he'll bounce back faster than I do.
A guy that is on the injury report, but I'm assuming it's just procedural, is Charles Omenihu, who returned from his knee injury last weekend. And while he didn't get a sack, he was on the field for all 3 sacks. How much do you think him just being on the field and what he's done in the past kind of is showing is an approach against other teams' offensive lines? And how much do you think he can take a step up with his, I believe he had a 15.7% pass rush win rate last weekend. How big do you think it is for them to get him back this time of the year?
Oh, I mean, definitely huge. I mean, they need some depth at that position. Absolutely. Depth and experience. And a minute he brings them that. Hey, anybody who's getting treatment is going to end up on the injury report. So I think that's a pretty good example there that, hey, he might end up just being on the injury report for a few more weeks, rest of the season. I mean, you never know for sure, but as long as he's getting, physical treatment, they're going to have him on there. But then, the question to me is going to be, going forward, just what's his stamina and conditioning going to be, especially because the Chiefs have those 3 games in 10 days. How will he come through that? How will they manage his snaps and workload? I mean, they need him. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They've been struggling to get pressure on the quarterback, and Chris Jones is getting a lot of attention, which means that other guys on this defensive line are getting one-on-one matchups. And thus far, I mean, they haven't had a lot of success in guys, having beating those. George Karlaftis, I think, had a better game with Charles Omenihu around. I mean, his win rate last week was very strong. Now it's a matter of just taking that next step. Being able to do it in back-to-back games, adding a few more snaps. He definitely played more snaps last week than the Chiefs anticipated, and that was, I think, it's just the nature of another close game. A lot of their starters and guys that they depend on, I think, are playing more snaps than the Chiefs would prefer, just because they have been in so many close games.
A couple of more questions for our Chiefs insider, Matt Derrick, beat writer for ChiefsDigest.com, joining us here on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline on 580 Sports Talk. Let's look ahead to Sunday night, Matt. The Chargers come to town. Chiefs going for the season series sweep of the Bolts. What do you see as the most telling matchup in this game? The thing that the Chiefs have to make work in this matchup in their favor if they're going to come away with a win?
Yeah, with some of the injuries that the Chargers have had in their backfield, and just the offense kind of figuring out itself under another new coordinator and all the changes, and not having guys like Mike Williams and Keenan Allen around anymore. Lam McConkey's become a huge part of that offense. Last week he had more than 60% of the offense. And he obviously had a breakout game against the Chiefs the first time around. They need to deal with him, and he spends most of his time in the slot. So that's going to be a matchup, especially because Jamari Conner has struggled the last couple of games. He's had some up and down moments, some good plays and some ones he'd like to have back. And I don't know if the Chiefs are going to want to change up their coverage in any way. If they want to use Trent McDuffie more in the slot, if they do that, it means they're going to have two guys on the outside. And right now they've been struggling to try and find one to play opposite McDuffie. So that I think is going to be a difficult decision, especially if McConkey has a few plays early if against Connor, if he's the one in the slot. If you're Steve Spagnuolo and Dave Merritt, you have to mix things up a little bit there, because that's the guy. I mean, if Ladd McConkey has a big game, Chargers are going to be able to play in this one.
Matt, do you think this is going to be a lower scoring game like the first meeting between these two teams? Because I kind of have a gut feeling that, especially if Humphries plays and does adequately at left tackle, this could be a really high scoring game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any doubt that the Chargers would like to keep it low scoring. I think that's their MO. I mean, they don't have as high powered offense as they have had in the past. It's just kind of in an adjustment period. Jim Harbaugh, certainly he wants to run the football, which I don't know if they really have the horses to do it right now, especially in the backfield. I mean, Dobbins has been banged up, and that's the guy who's been most productive for him. So yeah, I mean, to me, it's one of those games that the slower the tempo, the more it plays into the Chargers' hands. If this game gets up tempo, it's where I think the Chiefs have a good advantage, because I feel like that this Chiefs offense is starting to trend in the right direction. And if Humphries is indeed the solution, and he's a guy who can give Mahomes just a little bit more time in the pocket, are there big plays out there that this team can make and add to what they've been doing? If that's the case, I mean, this could be the beginning of the offense trying to find its groove.
Do the Chiefs do it, Matt? Do they pull out the win Sunday night?
Yeah, I think they do, and I kind of wish I could change my prediction a little bit, but I'm going to trust myself that I've not taken the Chiefs to blow anybody out until they actually do it. So I'm going with a 4-point game, 27-23. But tell you what, after talking to this team, seeing them this week, talking to the coaches, I think that they not only want to win the AFC this week, West this week, I think they want to send a message. And that's why I think there's a reasonable chance that maybe they do put a hurting on the Chargers. I think they want to this week. It's just going to be a matter of can they.
Matt Derrick covers the Chiefs at ChiefsDigest.com and joins us every Friday on the Fleming Place Wine Spirits Hotline as our Chiefs insider. Matt, always a pleasure. Enjoy the game Sunday night. We'll talk next week.
Sounds great, Dan. Take care, my friends.
And we'll wrap up this 3 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk next. A breaking news edition of Change My Mind here on 580
Whoa,
Sports Talk.
what?
Pete Thamel reporting that Wisconsin is targeting current Kansas offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes to be their new offensive coordinator. Thamel tweets, a deal is not complete, but the sides are talking, and those talks are expected to intensify in the near future. Change my mind. Lance Leipold ought to help him pack.
No, I'm with you. I said I think that this is going to be a welcome change. I think.
You know, I think Jeff Grimes does some really good things in his coaching career. Zach Wilson was the number 2 pick in the NFL draft. Zach Wilson running a Jeff Grimes offense. So, like, there's something there. Like, Jeff Grimes isn't a dunce, right? Like, what a thing to say. No, I think that Jeff Grimes has had a good and successful coaching career. But I don't think the marriage worked this year. I think the offense felt really disjointed. I think Kansas has a perfectly acceptable candidate to run the offense in Jim Zebrowski already on their staff, and they should do whatever it takes to keep Jim Zebrowski on their staff. And if it's a full promotion to offensive coordinator, he was kind of co-OCs with Grimes this year, then just do it. Like this is one of those things where it feels like that Grimes has probably been told, hey, we don't exactly mind if you listen to some
seek elsewhere
other offers. Like we're happy you're here, but maybe you'd be happier somewhere else. You know, one of those. So that's in the last 20 minutes, Pete Thamel reporting that. So could be some changes. And look, like we talked about on Tuesday with regards to KU, you don't have that season that they just have and not change some things. And maybe this is one of the things that changes for on Lance Leipold's staff moving forward. 580 Sports Talk picks. What is wrong with you and more next hour on 580 Sports Talk.
dairy processing facilities nationwide for bird flu. That's in hopes of rooting out potential undetected outbreaks of the virus in dairy.
The body of a 64-year-old woman who fell through a sinkhole about 40 miles from Pittsburgh has been recovered. Pennsylvania State Trooper Steve Limani.
She was about 12 feet southwest of where the original sinkhole occurred.
The Labor Department said today employers in the U.S. added 227,000 jobs last year. That may not stop the Fed from cutting rates at its next meeting, but after that, the bank may hold rates steady, says CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell has been talking about how the economy is growing at a pretty decent pace, and I think he's giving us maybe a little bit of a glimpse inside the Fed.
The Dow goes down about 1/4 of 1%, but the NASDAQ goes up more than 3/4 of 1%. This is CBS News.
Progressive Insurance. Look to your home and auto Evan Common. They're yours, and Progressive protects them both. Bundle today at progressive.com.
Kansas Information Network News. I'm Lisa Buckman. Riverton school administrators are warning parents about a positive case of whooping cough.
According to a post on the school's district Facebook page, a person associated with the Riverton School District has been diagnosed with whooping cough. Whooping cough is an infection that affects the airways and can easily spread from one person to another by coughing or sneezing. Symptoms for whooping cough can develop within 21 days of exposure and resemble cold-like symptoms. School officials are encouraging people to get vaccinated for whooping cough and say anyone who thinks they've been exposed or may have whooping cough to contact a health official. I'm Blue Flares.
A woman was injured following a crash in Lenexa. 23-year-old Samantha Hayes of Overland Park was driving on I-35 near 95th Street when her car was hit from behind by a pickup. Hayes suffered life-threatening injuries in that crash. This is Kansas Information Network News.
When Keller Fire and Safety does routine inspections, the two most common fire sprinkler problems are paint and corrosion. A fresh new coat of paint is great on walls and ceilings, but not on fire sprinkler heads, and corrosion buildup happens silently. Bottom line, painted and corroded sprinkler heads will not operate properly. Call Keller to inspect, clean, repair, or replace. Keep your employees and property safe and keep the fire marshal happy.
Keller Fire and Safety. KellerFire.com.
There's a whole new world out there waiting for you and your RV from Noller RV Supercenter. Shop the huge inventory of the best brands from Keystone. You'll quickly discover that the price is nice, and so are the extra perks. Noller RV offers complimentary winterization and de-winterization service each year for the lifetime of any new or pre-owned camper purchase. Find yours at Noller RV Supercenter in Topeka, just north of Highway 24, NollerRV.com.
Keeping you connected to what's important with internet, telephone, and streaming TV.
Where would we be without connectivity? That's big. That's huge. That's Giant Communications. The latest technology combined with responsive, personalized customer service.
Keeping you connected to what's important. That's big. That's huge. That's Giant Communications.
It's a dry weather pattern for Topeka and all of northeastern Kansas. In fact, right now we are bone dry straight through Thursday of next week. Climb in temperatures through Monday and then a cooling trend Tuesday and Wednesday. Clear this evening and into the overnight hours, our low mid to upper 20s. Mid to upper 50s Saturday and Sunday, abundant sunshine coming in. Still some 50s in here Monday and then for Tuesday and Wednesday. Highs are in the low 40s. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Ramon from the Capitol Federal Weather Center.
On air and online at 580WIBW.com.
Let's get it. Hour number 2 of 580 Sports Talk on a red Friday, a football Friday. Thanks for being with us on 580 WIBW FM 104.9. Online worldwide at 580WIBW.com. And on our live video stream on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk is the YouTube channel. You can also watch us on Facebook, WIBW News. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you this afternoon. Brendan Dworzynski remains on baby watch. As soon as we know anything, we'll let y'all know. Waiting with baby Brett.
People were really wondering last night.
I'm sure.
I will tell you that because it was kind of abrupt.
No, people. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it was kind of how it was for me, right? Like
Yeah.
I showed up and it was like, we're my wife's being induced and that's happening like right now. So see ya. Next time I talk to you, I'll be a dad. And when it happens so frantically, frantically is not the right word, but suddenly is the better word. You start to kind of wonder, and we're excited for Brendan and his wife, and we're excited for the Dworzynski clan and the new addition. So of course we want to know. Of course we're excited and we want to find out, but we don't know anything yet. And hopefully by Monday we'll be able to pass along some glad tidings from the Dworzynskis about that. So it's just the two of us for another 30 minutes, and then Spencer's got you the rest of the way. Well, I head out to Silver Lake for high school hoops. 580 Preps game of the week, first one of the season.
It's back.
It is. It's back. It's my, anybody who knows me, listens to the show long enough, baseball is my favorite sport, my absolute favorite sport. But the sport I have always loved to cover the most in a professional capacity, I love high school basketball season. I love to follow the season. I love to go to the games. I love to watch the young people perform. I delight in the achievements of the youngsters that I get to cover here now in this portion of my career across Shawnee County. And it's just a joy to cover for me. And I hope that comes through as I broadcast starting the season tonight. Silver Lake hosting Prairie Lecompton, our first game of the week. Not everybody is in action tonight, and a lot of our city teams who are in action are actually on the road. So the Silver Lake at home, it's the defending 3A girls basketball state champions, so they do have to replace 4 starters and 5 seniors from that 26-0 squad last year. You got to see them, Spencer. You know how good they were.
Yes.
And tough act to follow this year. Kaylin Haney's back at the point, but a lot of new faces for that Silver Lake girls team against a Prairie Lecompton team that will be very young. 2 freshmen in the starting lineup for the Lady Cause. And the boys game should be really good. Prairie Lecompton's been an excellent program last half decade or so. 3 trips to state last 6 years. They should be really good again. They've got 4 starters back. Shannon Kruger, Silver Lake Eagles have 3 starters back, including a couple of all-league players as well. And it's also the first game for these two as league mates. These two teams have seen each other before, a lot of times at sub-state. In fact, I'm pretty certain it was Silver Lake and Prairie Lecompton who played the 4 overtime sub-state semifinal that I called with Larry Latimer. I want to say this was maybe 2018 or 17, 18, or 19. It was in that range. And Silver Lake and Prairie Lecompton played a 4 overtime boys basketball game. One of the wildest games I've ever broadcast. We did not take a commercial break for the entirety of the overtime periods. We just kept rolling and rolling and rolling. So that was a fun night. But certainly familiar opposition, but not as league mates. That hasn't been the case until this year with the new Big East League. So it is league action tonight for Silver Lake and Prairie Lecompton, our 580 Preps game of the week. Pre-game coverage starting around 5:40. Tip-off the girls' game set for about 6 o'clock. Myself and Larry Latimer.
I was going to ask if Larry's back.
Lat's back, baby. Lat's so back. And I'm delighted in that because Larry is the absolute best. And Mark B knows it in YouTube live chat, and anybody who listens knows he's awesome. So
hey, the people that are still listening when you head out, they'll get to hang out with me in my vintage 580 WIBW
I need you to show that to the people while we're here. I'm gonna put you big. I'm gonna reverse the roles here on the screen, and we're gonna make you big. Go ahead and put that hat up there. So this is, what year is this from? This
70s?
Radio 58. Like, they don't do that anymore. I remember when I was young, a little lower. There you go. Perfect. Right there. You see that? I would have been a little more hesitant to put that directly onto my head. I don't know if you sponged it out, washed it, or what, but it's a sweet hat. Like,
luckily,
they
made
eBay
these
find, right?
Yes, it was an eBay find, but luckily they made these in the 80s, and these promotional hats in the 80s, I guess, or 70s or 80s, whenever it was. I don't have an exact date. They're like paper thin. Yeah. So like, if my head weren't there, this like is very movable.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is a relic of the days, because I remember when I was a kid that KOA was the big AM in Denver when I grew up, and it still is the big AM in Denver. But they used to call it News Radio 85. They wouldn't call it 850 like we call WIBW 580. This is the full. They just do the numbers on some of the 3-digit AM frequencies. You just get like the numbers. So yeah, KOA for a long time that branded as News Radio 85, and that hat Radio 58 WIBW. Pretty cool find. Pretty cool eBay find for
$12 on eBay.
That's Mark H. is the fan. Mark H. like that.
Yeah.
Right? So you'll get to hang out with Spencer, and who knows what he'll come up with to talk about from following What Is Wrong With You until he hands it back to me for high school basketball tonight.
I think that segment right afterwards, we'll talk some Chiefs, because obviously I wasn't here in the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
So we're going to rehash some Chiefs left tackle thoughts.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yes. Among other Chiefs topics.
I told the people you were going to do a position position breakdown of the Sun Belt Championship game. Are we going to get that at some point?
No, we're not, because Charles Huff is leaving Marshall after the game.
Is that official?
I mean, it's all but official. Marshall had a Board of Governors meeting the other day, and they approved a contract, but that contract is signed and sealed from the world. So if it was an extension for Charles Huff, I think they would have announced it on National Signing Day to let everybody know that signed that he would be coming back. So it's going to be Tony Gibson, former West Virginia defensive coordinator, NC State defensive coordinator.
Okay.
Currently.
How about that? So
per my inside source.
Per sauces. We have sauces on the show today. We appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate those of you who are dialed in on YouTube. Again, 580 Sports Talk is the YouTube channel. If you are watching us on YouTube, you can join the live chat feature. Get your predictions in for Chiefs Chargers, your thoughts on anything that we're talking about on the show today. Interact with other listeners. I guess the topic du jour today is car movies. Spencer, what's your favorite car movie?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Doesn't necessarily have to be a racing movie, just a movie about cars.
That's a good one. Probably like Gone in 60 Seconds.
That is my favorite car movie. Gone in 60 Seconds rules. I have seen that movie more than I've probably seen any non-sports movie.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any other car movies.
Part of that is because it is always on cable.
I guess Bullet.
Sure.
My dad is a big Mustang guy, so we
Steve
were watching
McQueen?
for the Mustang.
Sure.
But I will tell you, I was a viewer of the series that everyone's talking about in the comments, Dukes of Hazzard. I don't know why as a kid I was obsessed with Dodge Charger, but I was obsessed with the Dodge Charger.
Okay.
Yeah, I had all them. I had like seasons 4 through 6 or whatever it was on DVD.
I never watched Dukes of Hazzard. I drive my personal vehicle is a Dodge Charger, so
Yes.
I'm obviously affectionate towards that particular kind of car. But no, I never did watch Dukes of Hazzard. Never saw like the movie with what was it? Jessica Simpson was in it. But yeah, good choices for favorite car movies. Gone in 60 Seconds is a favorite of mine. People have thrown out Fast and the Furious. I've only ever seen 2 of the Fast and Furious movies. How many of those have you seen?
I've seen quite a few. I mean, Ford versus Ferrari,
Great movie.
Great movie.
That was so. I went and saw that in the theater.
Me too.
They built that the new when it was the new theater in Topeka. Now it's the theater, the new movie theater in Topeka, the B&B down there on 29th Fairlawn. I went to see that the night that KU beat Dayton in the Maui Invitational final. Very distinct memory. I don't know why that's the case, but I went and saw the movie there that night, and I was like, man, what a cool movie theater. I can't wait to see more movies here. And then 4 months later, COVID happened, and I'm not kidding you. I haven't been back to a movie since. I haven't been back to see a movie in a movie theater since COVID. So Ford vs. Ferrari is the last one I've seen in the movie theater.
Interesting. Yeah, Smoking the Bandit, another good movie. Furious 7. Furious 7 is the one where they AI'd Paul Walker in.
Oh, when he died after filming?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But like the stunts and stuff in that movie are pretty good.
Okay.
Also, a sleeper is Baby Driver.
Baby Driver was cool. I actually saw that. I saw that at the other theater in Topeka. I saw that one up the hill. The theater that's no longer in use up there up on the hill by the Red Robin.
Yeah.
I saw Baby Driver there. I remember I went to go see that on a night where this would have been 2017 because the Rockies were good, but they were in a bad losing streak, and I was tired of watching them, so I went and saw a movie instead. They snapped their losing streak that night. Raimel Tapia had a grand slam. Anyway, funny the things you remember.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
you can't beat Cars though.
like just Cars, like
the movie Cars,
like Lightning
the
McQueen,
animated
and,
movie. Yeah,
the Tow Mater and all that.
Yeah, the classic one in 2006 when I was 9 years old. That's the only movie I watched. I didn't watch 2 or 3.
Okay, yeah, I have not seen the sequels. I do believe I've seen the first one though. It came out when you were 9. So what year was that again?
06.
Okay, so I would have been a sophomore in college, if you can believe it.
Wait, you watched that movie?
No, I have seen it. Now I don't remember in what capacity I have seen it, but I know that I have seen it. May have been a bus ride movie. I don't know,
Hey,
but
it's a must-watch movie when Asher gets a little bit older.
Absolutely.
No,
No,
he can comprehend movies a little bit.
Yeah, we're psyched. It's one of the cool things about having kids is you get to like catch up on all of the movies that were made for children, but like you didn't watch them because I was 34 and single. I wasn't watching movies like that. Now I can watch them with my son. So yeah, and get to relive all the ones that you thought were great when you were young. You know, you get to catch him up on, like, I can rewatch all the Toy Story ones and now watch them with him. I'm looking forward to that in particular. Anyway, that is the topic du jour today. Your favorite car movie. Sound off in the comments. The YouTube live chat. You can also comment if you're watching on Facebook, by the way, too. WIBW News. Let's get to some picks, shall we? The Prairie Band Sportsbook 580 Sports Talk Picks Contest. Usually you can find these online. I got to be honest. I've been super busy. I didn't get a story today.
I totally forgot to send you a lock of the week.
That's fine. You can reveal your lock of the week today because it's not on the website yet. I'll get them up on the website before they start playing games.
I
tomorrow.
totally forgot about that.
You and me both. It has been a week. It has been a 24 hours.
Yeah.
I was arriving at the Health and Sports Center 24 hours ago in Kearney, Nebraska. I'd spent 8.5 hours behind the wheel of the car in the last 28 hours, and I've got more to come tomorrow. So it be like that sometimes. Anyway, our Prairie Band Sportsbook 580 Sports Talk Picks Contest, all lines courtesy Prairie Band Sportsbook, part of Prairie Band Casino and Resort in Mayetta. Bet your way at Prairie Band Sportsbook. Brendan did not submit picks this week. We forgive him, but he leads the standings 33, 34, and 1.
How are we playing this?
We'll have to just go by winning percentage.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We have to do winning percentage
Is this the last week with our college football?
Well, it's the last week of college football. Next week we'll do NFL picks, and we will all make a pick in the Army Navy game.
Okay.
The wild card will be the Army Navy game.
Okay. All right.
That's how we'll do it moving forward. So, but for now, we do have enough college football games to do 2 college football picks, 2 NFL picks, and then a wild card pick. We are head to head on not 1 but 2 picks this week. And I got to admit, Spencer, that feels a little personal. Feels like a personal attack.
Well,
I'm giving you a hard time.
Could have been on more. Well, either way, we were on more, but I was on Tulane. So I was like, I don't want to be on the same as you.
Okay.
So then I was like, oh, I'm on Texas. And then I looked over and realized you were on Georgia.
Let's go ahead and get to the picks. I am half a game ahead of you right now. Right now, Brendan, 33, 34, and 1 is our leader. I am 2 games back of him, 31, 36, and 1 overall. Spencer, half a game behind me at 31 and 37. You've managed to avoid, to this point, the dreaded push. Let's start with our college football picks. I'll go with my one solo pick. I've got Tulane laying 4 against Army in the American Championship game. You're rocking with your guys.
Hold on. I think I might have fudged that.
Uh-oh.
I think they are underdogs. I don't think they're favored.
The Thundering Herd are 6-point underdogs. Yes.
Yes.
So now you're even more excited to pick them.
Yes, I had them as favorites in here for some reason. I hit the minus, not the plus. Yes, as I keep saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Nothing official has come out because Charles Huff does not want to distract his team from winning a Sun Belt championship. And I think that's what he wants to do. His last thing is to win a conference championship because he got in. He was head coach for a year while they were in the Conference USA. Didn't win it there. Haven't won it the first couple of years in the Sun Belt. So I think he wants to go out on top. And I think Marshall's going to do it. They are 6-point underdogs, but they've been underdogs the last couple of weeks.
Yes, they have. And 6-point dogs. Any concern that's a true home game? This is not a neutral site conference championship game. Game is at the home of the Cajuns.
Yeah, well, it's kind of embarrassing for the Sun Belt and the Raging Cajuns coming after the SEC championship game on ESPN, you will see nobody in the stands on the camera view side because half their stadium is under construction. So
why? I guess somebody's got to play. You got to play when you can play, but why go up against not one but two other conference championship games, and not just two other conference championship games, two Power 4 championship games? Because Marshall and Louisiana kicks at 6:30 Central Time, 7 o'clock the ACC title game, and at the same time the Big Ten title game. So you're not even on the second screen for most people if you're the Sun Belt. What's that all about?
I don't know. I wish they would change it because Marshall is in the
They could have kicked it 3, like be the supplementary game.
Well,
to
they
the
wouldn't
SEC
have been
title game.
Look, they wouldn't have been on ESPN regular.
I guess
ESPN 1. They wouldn't have been on the Uno.
Everything's a network decision.
But I'm actually mad because Marshall soccer is in the Elite 8, I think, in
hell
college
yeah.
soccer. They're taking on SMU at the same exact time.
Wow.
So I wish they would have changed it.
All right, the SEC title game, we are on opposite sides.
Yes.
I've got the Dogs +3. You're going to lay the points with the Texas Longhorns. Briefly, why do you like the Horns?
Because they're in the conference title game in their first season in the SEC. And I think that means they're going to win it. What's that coming down the tracks? Not the Georgia Bulldogs.
I did not see that coming. Folks, he didn't ask me if he could sing. He didn't ask for my permission to do that. That was a Spencer original.
That was off the dome.
Right off the
That
brain.
was not even like, I didn't even schedule myself to try and do that.
So I'm going Georgia +3. 2 reasons here. Number one, they lost this game last year. And I have trouble believing they're going to lose 2 straight SEC title games at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. This is a de facto home game for the Bulldogs when they are in it. Second of all, I just think that Kirby Smart in a big game is going to find a way to inspire a big-time performance. Georgia has been uninspiring for the better part of this season. I think they've got a big-time performance in them. I think it comes in this game. Call it a hunch, but I'll take the points with those hairy Bulldogs. In the NFL, we don't have any similar picks in the NFL. I am going with Carolina +12.5 at Philadelphia. Panthers have played better of late. Philadelphia's in a letdown spot coming off of that big win at Baltimore. I will take 12.5 points. That's a lot for an NFL game. I think Carolina's playing well enough. Bryce Young is playing well enough. They can keep that game a little closer. Also, bit of a homer pick. I hate doing it because nothing good has ever happened at the stadium, whatever they're calling it now, State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Nothing good has ever happened for anyone except the Chiefs. I guess they won a Super Bowl there. But
yeah. Santonio Holmes.
Especially nothing.
Right, that was there?
Yes, it was. But especially nothing good has ever happened to the Seattle Seahawks in that building. In fact, horrible things have happened to the Seahawks in that building. Not today, not Sunday. I got Seattle +2.5 at Arizona. Seattle wins. They're in the driver's seat in the NFC West. They've played really good football the last, 2 weeks, 3 weeks plus a half. They played really good football. They were a mess in the first half against the Jets last week, but they rallied to win that game. I think they're going to ride the momentum. I think they're going to shut down Arizona's offense. I got Seattle +2.5. Your NFL picks.
Yes, I was also going to be on Carolina to cover in this one. I just think I was also going to make that pick, but I don't want to make a double pick.
Thank you for saying I made a good pick, Spencer.
I just think double digit, I think they're going to take the foot off the gas. The Eagles are in the second half of that game, so I think it'll be closer than the books have it. My first game, Cleveland is going to cover the 6.5 at Pittsburgh. While Pittsburgh's playing well, Cleveland has kind of been playing well. Like, they're flirting with playing well. It just all comes crashing down when Jameis Winston throws interception.
True.
Those pick sixes. I think he doesn't throw any pick sixes this week. He throws a couple interceptions, but they're within the 6.5. And they cover that game. I've got Miami favored by 5.5 against the Jets. Distraction week for Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if you've seen everything that's coming out with this documentary that's apparently coming out.
Yeah.
And his ex-girlfriend, fiance, is now coming out and accusing him of some things.
Yep.
So a lot of distractions there on top of the already distracted season that the Jets have. So I think Miami keeps it within 5.5.
So I had half a mind to take Cleveland to cover that spread, but it is a short week for them, and Pittsburgh's really good at creating turnovers. Jameis Winston also good at creating turnovers, but not in the good way that you would say that about a football player. So that's my consternation with that one. But I see your vision. I do. I see your vision with that one. All right, wild card pick. We're on opposite sides here. We're both on the total in Chiefs Chargers. I have no idea why my gut's telling me this is going to be a high scoring game, but I kind of think this is going to turn out to be a quarterback showcase. Like, I think Herbert and Mahomes are going to ball out, and we're going to get over that 43.5 point total. It's now at 43, by the way. So we'll take the 43. We'll lower the number to what it was when we started the show today. Over 43 for Chargers Chiefs. You're on the under. Why?
I think we kind of talked about it earlier in the prediction segment. I don't think the offense is there, and I don't think the Chiefs, obviously they're not going to win big, so I don't think there's a lot of offense coming on. I don't think there's as much offense coming on their side as there could be, which would lead to going the over, right?
Sure.
Like if they scored 27, 30 something points, right? They scored that way, 30, what would it be? 34 points?
Yeah.
There'd be an automatic over because the other team's Chargers are going to score at least 14, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
So, like, I just think it's going to be a tight defensive game.
That would be what the Chargers would prefer.
Yes, and that's what happened in game one. It was, what was it, 17-10?
17-10, yeah. Where the Chargers scored 10 in the blink of an eye and then didn't do anything the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs were able to rally back and win. I do. I think we're going to get a higher scoring game. I just have a feeling both quarterbacks are going to play really, really well on Sunday. Those are our picks presented by Prairie Band Sportsbook. Bet your way at Prairie Band Sportsbook inside Prairie Band Casino and Resort in Mayetta. Go check them out for championship weekend in college football for the NFL games on Sunday. No better place to sit and watch, get some action on the games with your friends, and maybe new friends that you'll make along the way at Prairie Band Sportsbook. We'll take a break, come back with What Is Wrong With You? Crown a Weekly Champion next. It's time to crown a weekly champion on What Is Wrong With You. Our current champion, the guy who forgot his own fake identity he was using to elude the police. Damage done there. He was no longer able to elude the police. He had a great fake name, great made-up backstory, and then he accidentally used his real last name with the police. And the police were able to discover that, the guy who said he was Robert Hallmark was actually Richard Hallmark, and we have been looking for him for a variety of warrants for a very long time. Just gave a very bad fake name. It turns out it's very bad for your fake name to be like
very close to what your real name is.
If your real name is R Hallmark, that should also not be your fake name. Should not be. 2 new stories today. Why don't you go first, Spence?
All right, we're going to go back to Winter Haven, Florida. A Florida man told police he doesn't remember breaking into a Winter Haven home wearing only a shirt because he was on drugs.
He was Winnie the Pooh in it.
He was on drugs. Police say residents inside a home on 6th Street in Winter Haven were awoken shortly after 1:30 a.m. on Thursday by a loud bang at the front door. When they went to investigate, police said the residents found 23-year-old Austin Alexander Smith in the living room, appearing to be wearing only a shirt with no pants or shoes, holding the victim's carpet cleaner in his hand. According to the Winter Haven Police Department, the resident yelled at Smith, who immediately ran out of the home, dropping the carpet cleaner. Officers said they found Smith walking in the area of Avenue M and 5th Street Southwest. Police said Smith broke into the house by kicking the door down. Smith told officers that he didn't recall that he was doing that because he was high on methamphetamine. He's been charged with burglary of an occupied dwelling.
Yeah, that'd do it, right?
Half-baked Florida man is what it's called. The title there.
I think he might have been all the way back. I think I heard the ding on the oven for this guy. What was he doing with the carpet cleaner?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Considering he was wearing just a shirt, I don't think I actually want to know what he was going to do with that carpet cleaner. I have decided that I no longer want to know the answer to that question. Gross. Anyway, my story today. How familiar are you with Bitcoin, Spencer? You got a lot of Bitcoin?
No, I know what it is though. Kind of. I know that I know that it exists in some form or fashion, some way or another.
You know what it is? Funny money. That's what it is. Funny money. That's what crypto is. Bitcoin. Fake money. You don't believe me? Take your Bitcoin and go try and fill up on gas. Take your Bitcoin and go try and get a Big Mac meal at McDonald's.
Hey, there's some places that accept Bitcoin.
Funny money. I have very, very low tolerance for this idea that Bitcoin is the future.
Yeah.
Like I very low tolerance for the idea. And one of the reasons I have very low tolerance for the idea is because of the existence of what are called meme coins. These are forms of cryptocurrency typically created for entertainment purposes. So you can just decide, hey, buy my new Bitcoin. Like there's nothing stopping me, literally nothing, from deciding, y'all, I'm going to sell y'all some Dan coin. We got Dan coin on deck.
We got 580 Sports Talk coin.
We got 580 Sports Talk coin, Dan coin, Spencer coin, and pump up the value of it, inflate it, and y'all buy your Dan coin, and then take your Dan coin to go do anything, and you can't because it's not real. Anyway, cryptocurrency created for entertainment purposes. One pseudo-celebrity trying to ride the Bitcoin meme coin wave, the Hawk Tua girl who has a name. Her name is Haley Welch. She launched the Hawk Tua coin on the blockchain Wednesday evening. The coin quickly hit a market capitalization of nearly $500 million before immediately plummeting 95% in a day and a half. As of yesterday afternoon, the coin's price is $0 and 0.002439 cents. That is worthless. Completely worthless.
I didn't know what I was doing. I'm just a young Southern girl.
But there are people out there who are like, oh, yeah, this is the wave. I'm going to buy some Hawk Tua coin. Like Twitter user @Jigadrin_, who wrote, hi, Haley Welch. My $35,000 that I purchased of Hawk Tua coin is now $2,000 after 10 minutes of buying. I am a huge fan of Hawk Tua, but you took my life savings. I'm going to read that again. I am a huge fan of Hawk Tua, but you took my life savings. She's being accused of insider trading, which that's what this is all foundationally is insider trading. It's all pump and dump. And just if you take no other advice from me ever, don't do the Bitcoin thing. But yeah, especially don't do the Hawk Tua coin thing. Don't do that. Why in the world would you say, oh man, I know what's going to put my kids through college. I know how I'm going to grow my life savings. Hawk Tua coin. So I don't know what is wrong with you is here. If it's Haley Welch for suckering a bunch of people, but you know what? There are suckers born every minute. Or our guy Jigadrin, who lost his life savings in a Hawk Tua coin. Imagine having to explain that to your wife. I cannot imagine looking Abby in the eye and saying, honey, we are broke because I invested in Hawk Tua coin and now it is worthless. 35 minutes after I invested all of our savings into it.
I think somebody would be going to a lawyer the next day.
Yes.
Filing for divorce.
Not me.
No.
Anyway, good as Winnie the Pooh guy story is, I must vote for Hawk Tua coin to win today. But does it beat Forgot My Fake ID?
I don't know. I think this is just a way of her trying to stay in the news.
You know, it might be. You're trying to extend those 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
No, that and good for her. She's made it a lot longer in the public eye.
Apparently, she's got a podcast.
She does. The Talk Tua podcast. Very creative, honestly. Credit to her marketing people. No credit to anybody who tried to buy some damn funny money from the Hawk Tua girl. Before people do things, they should say out loud what they are going to do to someone who does not have the internet. Like if that person had gone to their dad and said, hey, Dad, I'm going to put $35,000 on Hawk Tua coin, a Bitcoin, a cyber coin based on the Hawk Tua girl. His dad would have smacked him in the face. He said, no, you're not doing that. Listen to the thing that you just said.
Did you know she also launched an AI-powered dating app called Pookie Tools?
Boy, I bet.
Because of in the video, she said she loved Pookie.
Sure.
In that main video that came out?
Yes.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
You could tell me anything about that woman and I would believe it.
Jake Paul's involved with his bet company, BetR.
Okay.
Yeah.
None of those words are in the Bible. I
think we got to vote for the identity because I don't want to hear about her anymore.
Yeah, I kind of don't want to do any more Hawk Tua content either. I just want to yell about that and just urge you all stay away from that funny money. Forgot My Fake Identity wins the week on What Is Wrong With You. Coming up next, Spencer's got you the rest of the way. I'm heading out to high school basketball. Who knows what wonders and joys await you as Spencer takes the reins for the remainder of this Friday edition of 580 Sports Talk.
Welcome back, youngest in command, moving here on 580 Sports Talk. Spencer Dupuis with you for the final, hour, because we'll be heading to Silver Lake for the start of Dan's broadcast here in exactly an hour at 5:45. Spencer Dupuis with you here, and I was out, obviously, during the first segment where Dan was talking about the Chiefs and keys to the game. We'll kind of rehash my keys to the game. I'm not sure if he ended up going over them, but get to Herbert as much as possible. Follow up last week's 3-sack performance. That's my first key to the game for the Chiefs on Sunday against the Chargers. Let me go back and do some digging here. But obviously, I've mentioned it on the show. I mentioned it with Matt Derrick earlier today. The pass rush win rate for Amenahue, the fact that Amenahue was on the field for all 3 of the sacks the Chiefs had last weekend, meaning that he's causing a disruption. He's having teams change their plan because now they only got 1 game of tape on him. They really didn't have any game of tape this year on him. But going back to that game, Chris Jones, the last time the Chiefs took on the Chargers, Chris Jones had 2 sacks in the game. Those were the only 2 sacks, but could be a difference maker with Amenahue continuing to be on the field. My other one is run the damn ball. Come on. They only ran the ball, I think, 14 times last weekend last Friday in their win over the Raiders in the game that they came out on top in, I should say. They didn't really win the game, right? Like, the Raiders should have won that game. But yeah, they only carried the ball 14 times, and that's not really a winning formula. So in order to do that, I think you need to see some big run. I mean, Pacheco's getting back into things, so I think it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But Pacheco and Kareem Hunt could be a two-headed monster. We talked with last night with Mitch Holtis on the program, and he said, really bringing Samaje Perine, and that makes it a 3-headed monster. And Samaje Perine didn't get any rushes last weekend, but you never know, he could this weekend. But the big thing Matt Derrick kind of broke news to us on the show about was the Chiefs left tackle situation. Obviously, this year it started with rookie Kingsley Suamataia out of BYU getting a shot at it. That was because Wanya Morris was hurt during training camp, so they kind of forced the hand to week 1. I think Wanya Morris, had he been healthy, probably starts week 1, obviously. But that didn't happen. That wasn't the case, and Kingsley Suamataia just couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. So they went to Wanya Morris. Clearly, Wanya couldn't do it either. All the frustrations that happened. You saw Joe Thuney move out to left tackle and Caliendo come in at guard there over the weekend. That's not what you want to happen. And we got some breaking news on the show earlier today from our Chiefs insider, Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com. And he talked about who will be starting at left tackle this Sunday night against the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, I've been told the Chiefs are going to go with DJ Humphries on Sunday. I mean, we'll see if that certainly comes to fruition. I don't believe there's anything today that would have changed it. I did talk to DJ after practice today. He didn't give anything away. Neither did Andy Reid. They're not saying, they're keeping mum at this point on the decision. But my understanding, what I've been told, is that, yeah, I mean, they're going to give the new guy a chance. And I think it kind of fits in with the overall attitude of this team this week, which is they're determined to win this game. And I'm not sure that they're just determined to win it. I think they want to win it convincingly. I think they want to make a statement this week.
And if they do, they need better left tackle play. I mean, clearly Patrick Mahomes was not happy with the way that things kind of went. No, he was not happy at all how they went in the game. He got so frustrated. You never see Patrick Mahomes get that frustrated in the middle of a game like he did at the left tackle spot. And I think, obviously, how do you taper expectations for DJ Humphries because he's coming off of an ACL injury, hasn't played this year? I mean, clearly, let's go back to his PFF advanced, or some PFF numbers for him. Let me see if I can get some numbers. I don't think I can. Yeah, I cannot get the PFF plus numbers. But I think that he can help their pressure problem, and I think it will be even better if Jawan Taylor can make improvements week over week. He has not been good at all this year. I mean, really, if you think about it, the Chiefs have two of the, if you take out Humphreys, obviously coming in to start this weekend, they have two of the worst tackles in the NFL. The situation at tackle has been horrible for them this year. Jawan Taylor, whether it's false starts, it's holding, it's not lining up correctly. That's been a problem for Jawan Taylor all season long, going back to last year. He was like the most penalized tackle in the league last year. And obviously you don't have the money to address that in free agency. And depending on how DJ Humphreys performs the rest of the way down the stretch, obviously this is just a band-aid for the rest of the year. So you really don't know where they're going to go next year. You hope Kingsley can improve. I mean, you didn't want him to be a project, but he's trending to be more of a project player than you thought he was out of BYU initially. But your right tackle situation might just be as bad as your left tackle situation if you're the Chiefs. But obviously that is something to watch for the Chiefs this weekend. Again, Sunday night, they will take on the Chargers. It's a Sunday night football game on NBC, but you can hear it here with Mitch Holthus on the call. Something else I wanted to point out about this Chiefs team is obviously the defense. Like, things aren't going their way in the corner position. We saw a little bit better play last week, but I mean, we talked about this on the show Monday. Brian Cook is like inexistent. Like, what he does is he hasn't really brought much to the table this year. Joshua Williams played pretty good when he was in there. Najee Johnson obviously benched a couple weeks ago. Things, could change here, but it's tough when your defense isn't the defense that you know them to be. But, the next couple of weeks are going to be challenging for this team. You go Sunday to Sunday, but then you go Sunday to Saturday to what day of the week is Christmas this year? I believe it's a Wednesday, Saturday to Wednesday. And then Wednesday, you get the whole next week off and you don't play till that's the final week against the Broncos. Interesting stretch for the Chiefs coming up. Obviously, just 2 division games left, but you got two teams in the AFC that will probably make the playoffs, and one that seems to be playing a little bit better. Another team fighting for the playoffs, the Broncos, and then another team that's playing better in the Browns with Jameis Winston at quarterback. I've pointed it out before. I mean, he obviously throws too many pick sixes, but that won't be the easiest game either. Like, I don't think there's really a gimme game on the schedule with the way the Browns have played against even the Steelers before. I mean, this Chargers game might be the most winnable game that they have, the most gettable game that they have left on the schedule. But that's obviously for them to play the games and see what happens. We will step aside for the last break of the hour. When we come back, we'll have my on second thought for the day. You're listening to 580 Sports Talk here on 580 WIBW Topeka. Welcome back to 580 Sports Talk. Youngest in command movement with you, Spencer Dupuis, here as we wrap up our number 2, head to the home stretch of the show. On second thought, my own second thought today was there is that I thought Kingsley Suamataia could be a starting left tackle in the NFL. Clearly hasn't shown that this year. They're going to be on their 3rd left tackle by the time the game starts on Sunday against the Chargers for Sunday Night Football. That's my own second thought. I really thought he could do it. We'll wrap things up here this hour. Then we come back after the news. We will have headlines. We will have an Ask Me Anything / NFL preview segment that's coming up on the final hour of 580 Sports Talk here on 580 WIBW.
people find relief from chronic pain. There are others out there who want to sell you stem cells from who knows where. But KRMC uses only your body's own stem cells because the safest, most effective source for these smart cells is you. Live the life you love. Contact Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center in Manhattan and Kansas City. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Clear conditions this evening and for the overnight hours. Our low dropping off for the mid to upper 20s. We're going to sneak up to some mid to upper 50s, and not only Saturday, but it looks like for Sunday too. Gusty at times with our south to southwesterly winds. Clear dry with lots of sunshine through the weekend. Front coming our way late Sunday night into Monday. It's going to come through dry, but the winds will turn around to the north and northwest. We're still in the low 50s Monday, but then the colder air coming in. We're in the low 40s on Tuesday. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Ramon from the Capital Federal Weather Center.
Stay connected with the voice of Kansas, WIBW.
Final hour, 580 Sports Talk here. Youngest in command movement with you. The final hour of the show. Spencer Dupuy with you. We'll hand things off. Well, I guess it's final 40 minutes because we'll hand things off to Dan Lucero live from Silver Lake as he's got a high school hoops 580 preps doubleheader to tip off the season tonight. Silver Lake taking on Perry Lecompton. We'll hand it over to him at 5:45 as the girls game tips off at 6 p.m. Following that, tonight on 580 at 10 o'clock, the high school basketball scoreboard show returns for the first time since March, as Eric Peterson will have you with scores from across the state from we're the flagship here for the Kansas Information Network on 580 and our sister stations this week. And tomorrow, it's an early wake up with the Kansas State men's basketball team as they are taking on St. John's. That's a 10:30 tip. Pregame coverage from the Kansas State Sports Network is set to get going at 9:30 a.m. On our sister station, Country 106.9. Dan Lucero will be out at Fort Hays State tomorrow as Washburn takes on an MIAA opponent. Pregame coverage begins at 1:45 over on Country 106.9. Tip-off for the women's game is set for 2 p.m. If you're listening right here on 580 WIBW tomorrow, you will hear the SEC championship game coverage from Westwood 1 will begin at 2:30 p.m. with a 3 p.m. kickoff between Georgia and Texas. I already gave my pick earlier today. Who's that coming down the tracks? Mean Machine in red and black. And it's going to be the Texas Longhorns getting the win in that one. That's my prediction. Let's move to Sunday. What we'll have on the airwaves, we will have Kansas State women's basketball. They get their another road test, this time a true road test. They're going down to College Station, Texas, taking on Texas A&M. A 2:30 pregame coverage from the Kansas State Sports Network, 3 p.m. tip-off. As yesterday, they got the win over USC Upstate, and guess what? Aoka Lee didn't even need to play. She didn't even see time on the floor in the game because they didn't need her. They annihilated USC Upstate in that one, scoring more than 100 points and only giving up 24. They won 110-24 in that contest. They improved now to 9-1. Their one loss coming against Duke in the Vegas Big Dogs Classic, I believe it was. But it was a triple-double for Serena Sundell. She scored 26, had 13 assists, 10 rebounds, in 32 minutes of action. Tamira Poindexter scored 17, 23 for Taryn Sides in 23 minutes of action. 15 points for Eliza Maupin off the bench, and Kennedy Taylor scored 11 in that one. But they didn't even need Aoka Lee, the record holder now for most points scored in the Kansas State women's basketball career. They didn't need her. They're definitely going to need her on Sunday when they take on Texas A&M. Again, a 2:30 pregame show from the Kansas State Sports Network with tip-off set for 3 p.m. Sunday night, obviously, Chiefs will take on the Chargers. Mitch Holtis, the voice of the Chiefs, will have the call for you. That's a 7:20 kickoff. Pregame coverage begins at 6 p.m. That'll be what's going on in the stations before we talk to you next. Let's get into some headlines this evening here as we've turned into the 5 o'clock hour. And let's look at the Chiefs injury report as well as the injury report for the Chargers. We do have game designations. Mentioned this earlier with Matt Derrick, our Chiefs insider from ChiefsDigest.com. A very short injury report for the Chiefs this week. But there was an addition today. We'll get into that in a moment. No game day designations for Noah Gray, who's dealing with a shoulder injury. He practiced fully all week. Charles Omenihu, obviously coming off that ACL injury, still getting treatment. If you're getting treatment, you're going to be on the injured list. No game day designation for him. The one that popped up kind of this week was the treatment that Jawan Taylor's getting on his knee. He was full on Wednesday, limited yesterday, but full today. No game day designation for him, but there was an injury that popped up today. McCole Hardman, the receiver, has a knee issue. He did not practice today. He is now listed as questionable for the game. That'd be big in the return game if they do not have him. Carson Steele would need to step up along with potentially Samaje Perine in there as well. Looking at the Chargers, they have a few guys. They have one guy, Denzel Perryman, their linebacker, is doubtful with a groin injury. That is tough. Denzel Perryman, such a great linebacker. Questionable is with a knee and shoulder injury after being limited all week is rookie receiver Ladd McConkey. Questionable with a hamstring is Tony Jefferson, the safety, with a hammy. And then Junior Colson, who was designated to practice from the IR, the linebacker with an ankle injury. He was limited both days on Wednesday and Thursday, fully today. He is questionable. See if they'll officially activate him. But the one we already mentioned, the doubtful here, no game day designations for outside linebacker Bud Dupree dealing with a heel injury. He practiced fully today after being limited the first 2 days of practice. Same with cornerback Cam Hart dealing with an ankle injury. He was limited Wednesday, Thursday, full today. Linebacker Diane Henley with a knee injury didn't practice on Wednesday, limited yesterday, and fully practiced today. Khalil Mack got a rest day on Wednesday. Not injury related, obviously. They just gave him a vet rest day. And then Elijah Molden, the defensive back, dealing with a back injury, was limited first 2 days and was a full participant in practice today. As we look at some other injuries from around the NFL, get some updates here from Adam Schefter. The 49ers have ruled out left tackle Trent Williams once again for Sunday's game versus the Bears. They've listed Nick Bosa as doubtful. The Eagles will be without tight end Dallas Goedert. He is out in that game. Let's see what else we have gotten. The Bills are listing wide receiver Keon Coleman and tight end Dalton Kincaid as questionable for their game against the Rams on Sunday. The Bears are listing DJ Moore and DeAndre Swift as questionable and have ruled out Ryan Bates, Elijah Hicks, and Rashawn Johnson. Jets interim head coach Jeff Ulbrich announced that running back Breece Hall and cornerback Sauce Gardner will be listed as doubtful. CJ Mosley was placed on IR due to a herniated disc in his neck, excuse me. A lot of injuries around the league, obviously. That's what happens this time of year. Thursday night football last night, the Packers fell to the Lions, and the Lions clinched their playoff berth last night. They've also now won a franchise record 11 straight games in this season. That's crazy. I remember growing up and the Lions were the laughing stock of the league. Dan Orlovsky running out of the back of the end zone while he's trying to throw the ball. Not great. But they've clearly turned their franchise around, and Dan Campbell has ignited it with the way that he coaches. Some sad news from ESPN and the media world with a guy that everybody knows near and dear to my heart, coming from Marshall. ESPN analyst Randy Moss is stepping away from Sunday NFL Countdown for now to address a personal health challenge. that he actually addressed a little bit on the show last Sunday while he was wearing glasses. Quote, the ESPN put out a statement today, quote, Pro Football Hall of Famer Randy Moss will step away from Sunday NFL Countdown for an extended time to focus on a personal health challenge. He briefly addressed the matter at the start of the show on December 1st. For nearly a decade, he has been an invaluable member of the team, constantly elevating Countdown with his insight and passion. He has ESPN's full support, and we look forward to welcoming him back when he is ready, end quote, from ESPN, as hopefully Randy Moss can get his health get that health problem fixed in a good amount of time. I believe coming up, he will be inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. I don't know if that is this weekend, but I know that he did get in this year. Let me double check when the induction is. It might be this weekend. I know that it's in December. I know that. Let me double check here. When is this induction? He, along with Larry Fitzgerald, Mark D'Antonio, were among the college football names that are going into the Hall of Fame class. Yeah, so the 66 NFF Annual Awards Dinner presented by Las Vegas, will take place in Las Vegas this weekend. I guess it's next week. It is the 10th, so it's on Tuesday night. So, or maybe it's this Saturday. I can't quite get a date for you. I'm trying to find a date for when it is, but there's not a lot of dates on the internet. Well wishes to the one, the only Randy Moss in this one as he battles his health condition. Let's take a look at some more headlines from around the country. I think there's one that I do want to get to that I saw earlier today, and it has to do with a Big 12 opponent for both Kansas and Kansas State football, as Oklahoma State is in the headlines today because they have asked Mike Gundy to sign a restructured contract after his 0-9 season in Big 12 play. This is per Pete Thamel of ESPN. Sources, Mike Gundy is in a standoff with Oklahoma State. He's telling people they have come to him and asked him to take a restructured contract, which is expected to include a pay cut, but they have yet to provide him with any details. I think I'd be asking for a pay cut. I think I'd be asking my coach for a pay cut because of going 0-9 in Big 12 play with the lofty expectations they had this year. I guess they were 3-9 this year. Obviously, their 3 wins came in non-conference play. It was the worst season of Gundy's 20-year tenure. After the board meeting on Friday, Chair Jeremy Harrell said, quote, "We have a plan," end quote. The board was an executive session on Monday for, quote, information relevant to the employment of the Oklahoma State University football staff, end quote. According to multiple reports, they're set to offer a restructured contract for Gundy. Per ESPN, Gundy could be fired for cause if he doesn't accept the deal. Per USA Today's salary database, Gundy is the 17th highest paid coach in college football on an annual basis with total compensation of over $7.7 million. His bio is just over $25.3 million. If he was fired for cause, Oklahoma State can contend that Gundy isn't owed any of his buyout. Oklahoma State fired both its offense and defensive coordinators after their dismal season. Their offense was plagued by turnovers, and the defense allowed nearly 7 yards of play and 36 points a game. Obviously not ideal for any team to do any of that. And Gundy could be gone if he doesn't accept the pay cut. Also, his son is back in the transfer portal after playing at Emporia State this past season. Quarterback Gunnar Gundy, the lefty, back in the transfer portal. We touched on this news earlier at the end of the 3 o'clock hour. I'll get back to it, see if there's any latest on this. But According to Pete Thamel, again, Wisconsin is targeting Kansas offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes as the school's new offensive coordinator. The deal is not complete, but the sides are talking, and those talks are expected to intensify in the near future. Quote, hiring Grimes, who has an offensive line background, would reconnect Wisconsin with its power run roots. That'd be good for Wisconsin, and I think, maybe Jeff Grimes could use a change of scenery to be successful. Obviously, his offense was not greatly successful this year. Michael Swain obviously has heard some of that as well. He quoted the tweet from Pete Thamel, our guy, 247sportsfog.net. He quoted the tweet and said Grimes could be heading to Wisconsin. So he at least has that information as well. A lot on the Kansas front, as we talked the other day, and I was kind of the instigator of this, and Brendan and Dan kind of went back at me for this thought, but I said you could see a few at least, guys in the portal, and a bigger name went into the portal today. Obviously, with Devin Neal graduating, going on to what likely could be an NFL career, Kansas running back Savion Morrison, who took the ball a lot this year, in a good portion of the season for Kansas due to I believe their second running back here was out with family matters. So Savion Morrison saw a little bit of time this year when Devin Neal took a playoff or two after, well-deserved plays off based on how he ran. With Daniel Highshaw obviously not playing a lot or, down the stretch of the season due to the situation he was going through. But Savion Morrison played a little bit this year, and he has entered his name into the transfer portal according to his Instagram account. So there's another player that Kansas has lost. So, I was kind of skeptical. I was the guy that was being skeptical about this Kansas team the other day. And you've lost a big player in there, as well as DJ Warner, who didn't get to play a lot, former top 100 prospect. He has announced he is going to transfer from KU as well. Those are some big things from the Big 12 there, as obviously I mentioned about Coach Gundy, and then about Jeff Grimes. Double check and see if there's any other breaking news or anything coming out. Let's see if there's anything. Oh, yeah. A few things. Obviously, Neil Brown in contact with Appalachian State. So he could go from coaching one Mountaineers team to another Mountaineers team. But there is currently a holdup in the contract situation with what they're wanting there. So that's something to keep an eye out through the weekend. Yeah. Mike Gundy, that was big there. Let's see if there is one other thing I want to touch on. We talked about this. I believe Dan and Brendan talked about it, or at least Brendan talked about it. A couple days after Rob Manfred came out and talked about the golden at-bat rule, he has kind of switched tenure now as he spoke at an event, the Italian American Baseball Foundation on Thursday night in New York. He clarified some comments that he made on the podcast last month, saying that it won't be coming very soon. So kind of backtracking a bit from what we heard earlier in the week. Also, the A's, yes, the A's, not the Athletics. They want to go by the A's now. The Las Vegas Stadium Authority approved lease, non-relocation, and development documents Thursday to clear the last major hurdles for the Athletics to construct a $1.75 billion stadium on the Strip and bring the MLB to the expanding sports market. The lease and non-relocation agreements each cover 30 years. Quote, it's a really significant day in Las Vegas, Stephen Hill, CEO and president of the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, said in his closing remarks. Today's a real milestone that I think we should recognize that and celebrate that. So they've approved that, and that's big because that was one of the hurdles that we had seen earlier this year about it's not going to happen now, obviously. Will it ever happen again? Also, some other MLB news pertaining to the American League Central. Right-hander Shane Bieber, who won the Cy Young Award with the Guardians in 2020, has re-signed with Cleveland after testing free agency for the first time. His deal is for 1 year and worth $14 million with $10 million in salary in 2025. Sources told Jeff Passan it includes $16 million player option for 2026, which includes a $4 million buyout. Obviously, he had reconstructive elbow surgery last April, but getting Shane Bieber back could be a help for that ascending team in the Guardians. That is it for this 580 Sports Talk headline segment. We come back. We'll get a little bit of everything. We'll talk what's going on in the NFL, what games we will see in the market this weekend. Plus, ask me anything. Drop them in the comments of the YouTube page. Head on 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. Drop comments in there with your Ask Me Anything questions. You're listening to 580 Sports Talk here on 580 WIBW.
And garland, the most unusual display in the Midwest, providing an opportunity to relive a visitor's past. Open Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 4, 1 to 5 on Sunday. Closed Thanksgiving and Christmas Day. Open New Year's Day. Enjoy local eateries and businesses when in the historic community. Territorial Capitol Museum in Lecompton.
As you head into retirement, do you ever ask yourself, will I run out of money before I run out of life? Take the fear out of your retirement by tuning into the Retirement Income Hour with Mark Falter. Mark will have information that will help you navigate through those golden years. The Retirement Income Hour is a show built with your financial future in mind. Be sure to listen to the Retirement Income Hour with Mark Falter Sunday mornings at 8. Investment advisory services offered through Mid-American Wealth Advisory Group, an SEC registered investment advisory firm.
Febreze. So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Your gas light's on. You need to fill up.
Gas around here is too expensive.
Don't drive all over searching for the lowest prices. Just download the free Upside app and get cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying gas? I'm stopping now to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Cash out anytime your bank account, PayPal, or e-gift card. Download the free Upside app now and use promo code RADIO for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill up. That's promo code RADIO.
Hello, everyone. It's your favorite president, Donald J. Trump, here to introduce something really special. You're going to love it. My new Trump watches. It's one of the best watches made. Wear it proudly on your wrist, and everyone will know what it's for, who it's for, what it represents. Get your Trump watch right now. Go to gettrumpwatches.com. It's Trump time.
That's right. President Trump has won the election, and now he's released his official Trump watches. Celebrate this historic victory with a Trump watch that stands for strength, leadership, and winning. But don't wait, because these limited edition watches won't be around for long. Go to gettrumpwatches.com now to get your Trump watch before they're gone. It's an easy URL to remember, gettrumpwatches.com. Don't miss your chance to own a piece of history. Go now to gettrumpwatches.com and get your watch today. This ad paid for by the Best Watches on Earth, LLC. See gettrumpwatches.com for details. Trump watches are not intended for investment purposes. Hurry! Go now to gettrumpwatches.com.
WIBW, Topeka.
Welcome back to 580 Sports Talk. 529 here, youngest in command movement. Spencer Dupuis with you here as we begin to wrap up the show, really. We got about 10 minutes left in the show. Things are going faster than anticipated at Silver Lake, so we'll send it off to Dan around 5:40. But first, we're going to do a little AMA here. But before that, we're going to check the NFL coverage maps this weekend. So the national broadcast there's no fully national game on Sunday. Usually we kind of see a fully national game on Sunday, but there's not. It's only Thursday night's game last night. Obviously, Sunday Night Football, we'll see Kansas City hosting the Chargers. Monday night's game is Cincinnati at Dallas, and believe that is the one where it'll be the Disney Plus Homer Simpson, the Simpsons kind of broadcast on there. But the majority of the majority of the United States, including the Kansas City and Topeka areas, will get Cleveland at Pittsburgh in the early window, the CBS single window on Sunday. And it looks like every other team really is just getting in their markets, except if you want to watch Seattle and Arizona and you live in the Minnesota area, as well as the eastern part of North Dakota. You can do that as well. But the bulk of the country will be getting Cleveland at Pittsburgh with Jim Nantz, Tony Romo. Fox early game, Kansas City, Topeka will be getting Carolina at Philadelphia with Adam Amin and Mark Sanchez. If you're listening in, I guess, north central Kansas or in Nebraska, you will be getting Atlanta at Minnesota, and the Fox late window. We will all be getting Buffalo at Rams. Kevin Burkhardt, Tony Romo on the call for that one. But again, if you're in the Omaha area or any of that middle of the country, you'll get the Chicago at 49ers broadcast with Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma. Let's take some of your questions here. Let's see. We've got just a few minutes left in this segment. If you can drop them again, I don't have time to really go back all the way to the top. How is my girlfriend adjusting to Midwest life? I would say pretty well. We're actually going to her school teacher holiday party later on this evening, so that should be fun. All right, drop me some questions here. Come on, I'm ready for your questions in this here time slot of the show. You'll have Dan Lucero coming up here about 5:40. Silver Lake is where he'll be with Larry Latimer, as Silver Lake takes on Perry LeCompton. That's coming up 5:40. Looks like it'll be earlier than a 6 p.m. tip-off for the women's game or the girls' game up there. Let's see if we got any more. Ask me any best football movie. All right, best football movie. We Are Marshall. I can't beat that movie. Remember the Titans up there as well. I'm trying to think of some other football movies. Favorite baseball movie. Sandlot. I love the Sandlot. That is definitely a good one. Also, Moneyball. Love Moneyball as well. Another one that I want to see, I've seen clips of. I wanted to see this before, totally forgot it was even a movie. I keep seeing these clips coming up on social media. Trouble with a Curve. I think that I heard it's a good movie, so I want to watch it. It's the clip I keep seeing really makes me want to watch it. That is a movie that came out, I guess, 12 years ago with Clint Eastwood, Justin Timberlake in it. Scott Eastwood, his son, was in it as well. That's definitely a movie that I want to watch based upon, early feeling about the Cats in brackets. Ooh, I don't know. You're talking about the Wildcats you're talking about K-State basketball. I don't know. Give me a little bit more time. It's too early for me in the college basketball season to figure things out. Best Christmas candy. Easy. Reese's Trees. Got some of those at home. Those are amazing. One a day keeps the doctor away, right? You know what they say. What else we got here? Any of your more questions here? Let's see if I'm missing anything as I go up here. Okay, we'll give my take here about the Sun Belt Championship since Dan said that I would do that. I do think Marshall will win. I think they're going to win it, but the program is going to get blown up on Sunday morning. Once Charles Huff Southern Miss announces he's heading backwards. He's heading backwards. Southern Miss is backwards. And it's not up. He's going backwards to Southern Miss. A huge rebuilding product. Don't know why he's going. But Marshall getting Tony Gibson, former West Virginia defensive coordinator, currently NC State's defensive coordinator. He's a good move. Defensive heavy team. Could be a good move for Marshall. I think they get a decent bowl out of this no matter what, but they'll probably lose in the bowl because nobody's going to play. Mike Green, probably one of the best defensive ends in the country, probably won't play. I would venture to guess some players leave and go to Southern Miss with Charles Huff. And no matter what, they're going to have time to enter the portal because of the coaching change. Best movie with cars. You're wanting my best movie with cars, Vance. Gone in 60 Seconds. I talked about this earlier. Furious 7. Love that one. Wait, this was your Mark B. You're telling me this is a 70s WWW truck rat? Yes. And it was a giveaway at a farm show back then. Is that actually what it was? Because I don't know. I bought it off eBay from some collectibles place in Warrensburg, Missouri. But Mark B, is that what you're saying? That's where it's from? It is in fact from there. That's interesting to note. I did not know that. Talladega Nights, yes, funny movie, but not quite a serious movie here. Let's take the final break. When we come back, I'll have my final word. That's coming up after this on 580 WIBW. Final word time here on 580 Sports Talk. If the Chiefs continue to struggle at left tackle, I just don't know what they could do. They're going to be on their third left tackle. You just hope next year that Kingsley Suamata'i develops into the guy you thought he was going to be. But DJ Humphries, according to our Chiefs Insider Matt Derrick, will get the start Sunday night against the Chargers. That's a 7:20 kickoff. You can tune into Mitch Holtis and the crew right here on 580 WIBW at 6 p.m., but we'll send it off to 580 Preps. High school basketball, the return of high school basketball coming up next. Dan Lucero, Larry Latimer on the call for Silver Lake taking on Perry Lecompton. That's coming up next right here on 580 WIBW. For Dan Lucero, I'm Spencer Puig saying have a great rest of your night, everyone, and have a great weekend.
Checking options that are flexible, liquid, local, and secure, and will make your money grow even faster. It's worth it to save when you earn more. Move your money to Communication Federal Credit Union, federally insured.
In Shawnee County,